My name is Nicholas Pascoe. I'm president of the MPA Northwest region. We're at the annual trade show in Seattle, Washington at the Convention Center. It's been a great show. It's been a fantastic year this year for the natural products industry. There's been a lot of great exhibitors at the show. The education pieces have been fantastic, and I think everybody's been having a good time. Initiative I-522. This is for GMO labeling in Washington State. It's something that the MPA Northwest board feels very strongly about. In fact, they've had a long-held position on GMO labeling for about 12 or 13 years. And this year, it was introduced just a couple of months ago. We have to raise 3,000 signatures on the petition by December 31st. If that happens, it will be on the ballot for next year. So the voters for Washington State can actually get to vote for the choice to have their foods labeled. The Prop 37 in California is really the main initiative that people are really aware of this year. It's actually going to be on the ballot in November. So it's a very similar initiative to the one in Washington State. There are a few technical differences, but essentially it's all about getting GMOs labeled so that the consumers have the right to know what they're eating. It's difficult to really know, but essentially what we're talking about is labeling. And with labeling, there's changes are frequently made when it comes to product labels. So with a rollout period, for instance, with the Prop 37, the rollout period is about 18 months. So that gives manufacturers plenty of time to change their labels. The Washington State initiative is similar in the fact that it doesn't require things to be happening overnight. There was a study done in Europe, actually, specifically addressing the cost to manufacturers, and it was typically under 0.5% additional costs. There's always going to be opposition to people being aware of the genetically modified foods being in the products that people are eating. Typically, that comes from the manufacturers of the genetically modified foods. There's actually 241,000 valid signatures, so the benchmark would be 300,000 signatures in total. That will include the people who have put P.O. box addresses and things like that. I just heard yesterday that we are about 2/3 of the way towards that total already, estimated by the end of October at least. There's been several financial injections into this initiative, and so hopefully they're going to be able to get some paid signature gatherers. Up to now, it's all been volunteers. The last 6 initiatives in Washington State did not make it onto the ballot because there were not enough signatures on the petitions. That's because you need paid signature gatherers to be able to get that number of signatures. There's a website behind the organization that put this initiative together. It's called labelitwa.org. Chris McManus was the young man who put that together. It's very much a grassroots movement. He actually put that together all by himself. There are potentially many issues with GMOs, but the reality is that people make choices about the foods they eat based on all kinds of reasons, whether it's religious, superstitious, it doesn't matter. If you want to choose to not have high fructose corn syrup, for example, in your food that you're giving to your children, you have the right to choose that. I don't need myself to explain why I would choose not to have GMOs in my food. I can only say that I would like to choose not to have them. I think it should be my right as being somebody in this country to be able to choose not to eat something if I choose not to have it. There's many things are labeled, everything from wheat, gluten, soy, aspartame, as I said, high fructose corn syrup, many things, peanut allergens. There's a broad spectrum of ingredients in foods which some of them have medical issues, some of them, kosher, for example, is a religious base. There's many different reasons for wanting to be able to choose what you have in your food. I was fortunate enough to marry a lovely woman called Teresa, and her parents have an apple orchard in central Washington. We had our wedding ceremony on the orchard, and a few years later decided to move to that town. And in that town is a great little natural food store. We own the natural food store now together, and it's become a real lifestyle for us. Joining the MPA Northwest was kind of a natural extension of that. Last year I became president of the organization. Pursuit of getting the right to know for consumers about GMOs has really been part of our transparent business practices we have in our store. We like to be able to give people choices to buy what they want, to buy the highest quality foods that are going to keep them healthy. And our consumers have demanded on a daily basis that they buy foods that do not have GMOs in them. And so we've taken that and pursued that on a legislative level whenever we get the opportunity. Obviously, being a small store, one of the issues is volume pricing. A lot of the times bigger stores, they can get things in such large quantities that they're able to sell cheaper. We try and mitigate that problem by going for smaller manufacturers. The smaller manufacturers and producers, they tend to make things in smaller batches and cannot actually supply the bigger stores, at which point we have a niche market and provide items that people can't buy anywhere else. It makes for a lot of hard work, but it's a very rewarding process to have people buying interesting new products that they just don't find anywhere else. One of the biggest issues that people need to be aware of in opening a small business is how to manage their employees and deal with the employment issues. With the best intentions in the world, it's easy to find yourself having problems, whether it's with labor and industries, for example. So really just getting some good legal advice and making sure that you're setting things up with good protocols within the store and making sure that people really understand what you expect of them and understand what they might expect from you. And with good communication, you can avoid a lot of those problems. As president of the NorthWest region of the MPA, I've got to say that we've had a fantastic show this year. Our show next year is going to be October 18th, 19th, and 20th. This year we had a very interesting development at our last board meeting on Wednesday, where the board approved a donation of $10,000 to I-522 for the support of Your Right to Know, with an additional $10,000 for matching funds. I guess my message to our membership is we're using your money as best as we feel that you would like us to, and that this is the type of advocacy we do for you, and we're here because you are.